Hey guys, hello from Mr. Dean out of quarantine land. I hope you guys are doing really well. Hopefully you are having fun at home and aren't going too crazy just yet. We are starting our second kind of real life unit here. We just did a whole bunch of just kind of drawing exercises, and now we're going to put sort of the skills that we learned there to better use and kind of directing them into learning how to draw figures, learning how to draw people. This is going to be a really fun unit. It's going to be some work, which I think is to be expected, but it's also going to be a lot of fun. Drawing people is kind of one of my favorite sorts of things to draw. It's something that I learned when I was a kid, and I still use it all the time in my own work. You can see I got a painting behind me here of a person, right? That's kind of what I draw and paint. So this is our first video. This is learning to draw the masculine body, okay? So we'll get right into it right away. All right, so we basically, in our last two videos, we've learned how to draw a figure, right? So if you take, something like this, you start with a head, draw in the rib cage and the spine, draw in your hips, your shoulders, your legs, your feet, your ankles there, your arms, and remember that your arms should go slightly down your leg, right? So it should look something like that, right? That's basically what a figure looks like. Then we go ahead and we start putting muscles and stuff on them and blah, 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 right? Should look something like this, real quick. What we're going to do is we're going to use this sort of way of drawing, and we're going to basically try and put this into different poses, okay? So this kind of skeleton approach is a really great way for you guys to get different poses. Okay, so let's say we want to draw someone running or something. You'll notice that I'm drawing really loosely. I'm drawing dark, but you guys should be drawing quite light, okay? Because we want to be able to erase parts of this image, right? So let's say we want to draw this person running. We can put basically a leg up, right? Another leg sort of down. They're doing some high knees here. Now, as you do this, you'll remember that the figure has to be about 8 heads high, right? And we can probably count, it'll probably be pretty close to 8 heads if I were to count all this out. Be pretty darn close. Put a hand here. Let's pretend that the elbow's kind of behind the body here. And maybe this arm is coming back around like that. So it's a really fast way for you guys. Maybe we want to actually put this hand here. Maybe he's charging into battle. He's got a sword or something. I don't know. Right? We can give him get a bunch of different ideas down really quickly in order to kind of figure out where we want to position stuff. Maybe we don't like this leg quite so bent. Maybe we want to have it more straight, right, and coming down this way. Once you're satisfied with what you want, it's really quite easy to erase the stuff that you don't want and start filling in the areas that you want. Right, so I got another. So it's really fast. It's a really nice way to kind of quickly get ideas down. And you can go ahead and start, I don't know, maybe he wants to be a suit of armor, right? You can put a helmet on him and maybe he's a Viking. Whatever. There's lots of different ways to really quickly get good ideas, okay? So do another one here. Always start with the head always start with the head, and so I almost always start with the spine immediately after. Okay, don't go start putting arms out way out here because you don't know where it's going to attach, right? You don't want to start putting feet in until you know where the bulk of the body is going to be, right? And that's going to be your torso. So maybe this person is about to dive or something. Maybe they got their arms up. Now, the interesting thing about that is if you put your arms up above your head, you can even do this right now if you want, your muscles move. That whole shoulder part moves. Your clavicle, your collarbones go up and down. So this whole thing can actually go up. That's how anatomy works. That's how your body works, right? So maybe this person is swimming, and we have a shot from below, and they're like swimming underwater or something, right? We can put the legs coming down like this. How far can we see here? Something like that. And then you can go ahead and put in, obviously, all your muscles and stuff, right? So there's an interesting sort of shape there. Maybe we've got another figure and they just like, I don't know, they're victorious or something over or whatever, and they got their arms raised. Right, so your rib cage, your spine, and your hips are always first. They got their feet spread wide. And their arms are up. Something like that, whatever. Same thing. This is all really quick, really fast, right? This is super fast. None of this stuff should take you any more than like 5 minutes to get a pretty decent drawing down, okay? Now, you want to make sure that things are the right size, right? So this head here, his neck is technically going down here, right? Because he's got his shoulders up. Let's actually put some muscles on this guy. Remember, masculine forms, this is kind of a more masculine form. It's going to be basically phi-shaped, right? It's going to be something like that. Give you some muscles. I don't know what's going on. He's got just one something or something. He's got his fists raised. Now we'll get into anatomy and stuff a little bit later. Sort of like how muscles and things operate. Big muscles here. But we want to make sure that the heads are roughly 8 heads high, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm a little bit long. That's okay. I'm not too worried. I might have actually miscounted this a little bit here too. But it should be roughly 8 heads tall. Okay. So if you are a little bit small, you can just make that head a little bigger. That's fine. It's easy. Anyways, you guys get the idea. Something like that. And obviously we have to erase all of our lines as well, which I didn't do. All right, this should be making sense to you guys, I think. But yeah, this is kind of these techniques of drawing with circles and lines is a really, really fast way to get ideas down. And it's a good way to kind of get your basic shapes of your figures really, really quickly. And you can use any amounts of forms as well, right? So you can have, if you want, if I wasn't satisfied with this, well, I could really easily just have another arm coming out here, right? And erase this one and put this one in. It's a really great way to kind of really quickly get the basis of a figure down. So practice this. Do this as often as you draw. Do this a lot. If you can practice this and get really good at this, you'll be really, really good at drawing figures. Let's move this over. I'll just show you an example here of what happens when heads look either too big or too small. So if I have a figure here, and let's say I'm drawing, it's off to a good start. I'm drawing kind of the shoulders and whatever, and he's doing stuff. He's kind of going for, I don't know, he's skipping through the field or something, I don't know, whatever. But you'll notice that the head, you guys can't see the, you'll notice that the head is too big, right? It looks wrong. And being able to kind of notice this off the top is going to be really important to just drawing in general. So right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 heads tall. That's really not great. He kind of looks like a little kid. Now, if you were drawing a maybe a 5-year-old, this is probably about the right size. The same thing happens as if you have your limbs and they're too long, they start looking a little bit strange, right? So we want to stay away from these sorts of mistakes when we're drawing. Take another look at that anatomy, or sorry, those guidelines from the first 2 pages of that handout, for you to kind of get that as your basis for stuff. We're going to be starting a range of motion as well, and we'll get more into how far our bodies can reach and contort and curl in on itself and stuff like that at another time. So just keep that in mind. When you're drawing these figures, don't make them either heads too big, which is a huge mistake that happens a lot, or heads too small, where you have kind of these bodies that look like this, right? Where you have these tiny little heads. I don't know, whatever I'm doing here. These tiny little heads that are not great, right? We don't want stuff like this, right? So stay away from these sorts of mistakes. Make sure your bodies are 8 heads high, and use that as your guideline.